I'm Diane Siegfried. I am the Co-Chair of Philanthropy for Alpha this year. And as it relates to Day of Authors, I am the person who secures the authors.
And I'm Bobbie Cooper, and I'm currently Co-Chair of Philanthropy with Diane. And this year I'm in charge of the invitations and the programs. Well, pretty much since I joined in 2002, I started in because the reason I joined Alpha was because I had come to Day of Authors as a guest for several years, and I was just so impressed with it. I wanted to be part of the organization that put it on. So I think the first year I had menial tasks like walking around asking for money for our raffle baskets and things like that. And then at some point fairly early on, I was resource chair. Resource development is the committee, the board position that's in charge of Day of Authors. So I did that for 2 years, 2 different years.
I have a very similar story. So I joined Alpha in 2011, and I had been probably attending Day of Authors 5 or 6 times over the prior 8 years as a guest of a friend. And I thought it was kind of the coolest event, and it was a little unknown. You'd walk into a room and it's 500 book lovers and readers and fabulous authors, and it was a pretty special day. And you'd hear a little bit about Alpha and what they were doing in the community. So finally, when I kind of partially retired and had a few more hours on my hand, I joined Alpha. And like Bobbie, started with pretty menial tasks. I was in charge of books at the back of the room, making sure they didn't disappear and that they got autographed as they were headed for authors who would sign them and put personal notes. And then I progressed to I had a philanthropy role and putting together the pictures and the display for philanthropy. But pretty soon I was tapped to be the head of resource again, the group that puts this on. And I too have done it 2 or 3 times. Well, I am the third person in a line of very capable people who have gotten the authors, and that process has been evolving. But we do start with kind of understanding that we want to represent different genres. So we want to have a mystery thriller and a historical fiction, and probably a romance and a nonfiction, and kind of children's literature or young adult. And then we always want to make sure we have kind of literary fiction, because we do like to attract the finer authors and people who have gotten, whether they are Pulitzers or, certain awards in their categories. So we start out with the genre, and then we go to kind of our wish list. And we start by contacting publicists and publishers and taking a look at when the author will have a book that is coming out, and hoping it will end up timing with our spring event. So what we do is we're looking for New York Times bestsellers. We're looking for kind of well-received from a critical perspective authors. And we do kind of aim for the stars, and then we adjust. But usually we do get high caliber authors. Yeah.
I think all of us are in awe of authors, whether they're world famous authors or maybe just local authors that we've gotten hold of, because, it just, the ability to put words on a page and connect with people and actually sell your books to people, to hundreds or thousands or maybe even millions of people that want to read them. To me, there's no greater skill that anybody can have to be able to do that. Well, it started with one of our earliest members back, 30 plus years ago. I'm not sure if she had heard about a similar event or if she just kind of pulled it out of her fertile brain. But there was her and a small group of people, that thought this would be an interesting fundraiser. And the interesting thing is, back then, we were the pioneers. Since then, there are at least, 3 or 4 going on during the year by other organizations. But for years and years, we had a hold on it because we were the ones that started it. And I think other people heard through the grapevine or maybe attended our event and brought that back to their organizations and said, oh, this would be good. But I don't think any of them ever realized how hard it is. And the cool thing is, authors that have been with us, invariably say, and they write back to Diane, because she's the one that's made the first contacts, that this is the most professional, well-run of all the events they've ever been to, and that really makes us feel good.
It also helps us in future years because they're willing to tell their publicists that, they're willing to tell other authors. So sometimes when I'm having trouble at the end, I will write one of my favorite authors and say, hey, I'm trying to get so-and-so. Could you just write a quick note that says our event is worth their time? And they usually will do it for me. I think it feels kind of magical because there aren't many places you can go and hear from best-selling authors. I don't know what percentage of the population loves reading, but I have to guess it's a large percentage. So you've got this, group of people who really read a lot, and then they never dream that they're going to be in a room actually hearing authors talk about how to write or how they got the impetus to start their writing process. And so it's not just that it's a fun day where you're having lunch and sitting with your friends. What makes it special is the access to really quality authors. This is our only fundraiser, and so each year, whatever proceeds that we earn from this event goes right back to the community of North Orange County and the 6 cities that we support.
And we have 7 or 8 philanthropies that help needy children and their families with toiletries, with food, with book bags and supplies and clothes. And, there's an organization called Tara's Chance that has therapeutic courses that help children with physical disabilities. The range of things we do, we offer scholarships for graduating seniors. We offer money for classroom libraries that cut across the gamut of the 5 cities that we serve. So they're going to be discussing it tonight. There are 30 teachers approximately that are going to have money, significant money in grants to go out and get books for their libraries because, it's tough out there in the schools and teachers very often have to open up their wallets and pay for these books themselves. And so we are doing everything we can for literacy, which is really one of our major goals is childhood literacy.